I don't think there is a single company out there that incentivizes its customer base into piracy as strongly as Nintendo does. So let's talk about the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. So for those who don't know, the expansion pack is going to be some kind of add-on for Nintendo Switch Online, and it was announced a few weeks ago. Actually, perhaps it's more than a month ago. I can't recall. At a recent Nintendo Direct. So they did say it was going to come with a bit of a price hike. They didn't say how much, which I did say at the time was a bad sign. And they promised some N64 ROMs and some Sega Genesis ROMs. Now, to get the obvious stuff out of the way, the fact that Nintendo thinks that offering these old titles would be enough of an incentive for someone to sign up with the service shows that they are not reading the room very well. Nintendo Switch Online has never been a really worthwhile service, and we all kind of just accept that we have to pay to play online because that's how it is for all of these companies. And then we try to see the ROMs that they're throwing our way at a snail pace, by the way. A couple of years after the introduction, we still don't have that many games that make the service something that you absolutely want to have and you recommend to others. Anybody has a way to run all of those titles and more on devices they already carry in their pockets every day. You pair that with a Bluetooth controller, why would you need Nintendo service to access these games? So it's one of those things. And also, it has always been relatively affordable compared to competing offers. So you pay Nintendo Switch Online for the year, you get to play your Smash and your whatever the hell people are playing online these days on Nintendo Switch, because I was never a huge fan of online on the Switch. To be honest, I don't really play online games that much because I'm realizing that the older I get, the more I suck at these video games, and playing them online just becomes very frustrating. So it was never for me, really. Being able to play classic Nintendo titles on the go was just not going to appeal to somebody like me. And I get that. Maybe I try to be optimistic, I try to be positive, and I assumed that for people who are just not very tech savvy, maybe that is a great solution to revisit these old titles. It is certainly a valid alternative to hunting down these cartridges, which have a tendency of becoming more and more expensive every year. So perhaps there's a small segment of the gaming population that might get some value out of that. But even considering that it's a convenient way to access these older titles, the Switch Online expansion pack is downright indefensible. So basically, there is a $50 increase in the price for the yearly plan, and you get, you know, these N64 games, a couple of Sega Genesis games, and let me remind you that there is already a Sega Genesis collection on the eShop that includes a bunch of the games that they're now giving with this expansion pack, making this proposition even harder to swallow. So $50 more a year gets you a couple of N64 games, a couple of Sega Genesis games that you likely, if you have any inclination to return to these classics at all, you have other ways to access. And then they did something that I guess I gotta give it to them. Very, I'm not sure if I should call this an innovation. I mean, it technically is an innovation because I don't think any other company out there has the balls to try to pull something like this. But calling it innovation almost sounds like a compliment. Nintendo did something that is not, it's not something that's common, and I hope to God that it doesn't become common, because now they're debuting what I could call renting DLC. Happy Home Paradise, the new Animal Crossing DLC, is going to be tied to the expansion pack. They're trying to craft a very sneaky narrative where what you're getting really is this amazing Nintendo Switch Online service that you already know and love. It's so full of features that you use all the time. And these N64 games that you've been clamoring for us to put out for the longest time that were already available on both the Wii and the Wii U, and that we took out for some reason. So now you can rent them in perpetuity, and you only get to play the ones that we tell you that you get to play. And if you change your minds, well, maybe now you can't play this anymore. But at no extra cost, you get this Animal Crossing DLC. You guys love Animal Crossing, right? That's all you did during the pandemic, I hear. So there you go. Free DLC that you only get to enjoy for as long as you pay for our service. Like I said, it's a DLC rental. It takes some serious cojones to now... Your service is already not very good. It lags behind the competition as if it came out like in 2004. Even perhaps I would go on a limb and say that even like first gen Xbox Live was actually better. What I used on the 360 was definitely better than what Nintendo is offering. And I understand the usual explanations that Nintendo caters to the Japanese sensibilities and they don't seem to care so much about these online services. Fine. But if you're putting that out to the world, well, the world is going to criticize you for doing something that's basically backwards compared to what the competition is offering. I decided enough is enough. I'm going to cancel my Switch Online. I don't play online. I don't care for the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo catalog. Like, just looking around my office right now, I can just like reach out and pick up something that I can use to play everything I want from the NES and SNES library. So I feel like I've given Nintendo enough money as it is. The response from the community, well, the dislike bar speaks for itself. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those videos where I usually pass the question off to you so you can continue the discussion in the comments. Maybe you'll mention something that I forgot. But in this case, I think the backlash is pretty much unanimous. I cannot imagine anybody, not even the most diehard Nintendo fanboy, who could possibly defend this. They're basically, they want us to pirate stuff. I know it can't be that because they took down a bunch of emulation websites and it makes perfect sense. If you're going to offer a crappy deal, the only way to sweeten the pot is to make it seem like it's better than the alternative, which is, you know, if there's no ROMs to be enjoyed, then maybe, yeah, in a world without emulation, the world I'm sure Nintendo would like us to live, this price hike would make some sense, but no. No, I refuse to be a part of this. Nintendo, I love your products. I love the Nintendo Switch, and I'm happy for the contributions that this company has made in this industry, but it's absolutely indefensible. And anybody who signs up for this is a part of the problem. What the community needs to do now is first voice our dissatisfaction with this service that they're offering and to quit en masse. I would advise anybody that has Nintendo Switch Online that is in a similar position as me, who has been signing up this, you know, you've been paying for the service for a while because, you know, it's not that expensive and, you know, it's fun to have these games accessible wherever you are. Provided you have the Wi-Fi, because God forbid you travel and you don't want to go through the rigmarole of connecting the Switch to the hotel Wi-Fi because it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and then now you can't play your Donkey Kong Country 2. Oh, wait a second, I have this in my pocket so I can play it whenever. See? I'm sorry, Nintendo, but why am I even wearing this shirt anymore? Like, when I think about it, Nintendo has given me way more reasons to criticize them than reasons to celebrate them. So it might be time to reconsider my stance as a die-hard, lifelong Nintendo fanboy. You see what you made me do?